For the past several reviews, I had gameplay clips of a World War II action tank game. After 7 years, that game has finally exited beta, although not really due to the company's weird numbering scheme of the game versions, but it finally reached a full 1.0 version. The game is World of Tanks, so with its new graphical overhaul, I guess it's a good a time as any to whether or not this game is actually worth playing and is it any good. Let's start with the gameplay. World of Tanks is an action tank game based on various historical and unhistorical tanks that existed during the pre-World War II to early Cold War era. The objective of each battle is to knock out the entirety of the enemy team or capture their base, or whichever comes first. Each battle consists of 15v15. After each battle, you are awarded credits and the in-game currency used to buy and upgrade tanks, and XP, which is used to unlock various parts of your current tank that you are playing and to research the next tank in the tech tree. This is where the game might be a turnoff for some, as the game can get quite grindy to unlock the higher tier tanks. You start off in a little tank that was used pre-World War II, nothing fancy or remarkable. As you grind, you gradually unlock more interesting tanks that saw service during the war, like this IS tank shown right now. The graphics have received a complete overhaul with World of Tanks 1.0 and they are impeccable. Each tank has really good attention to detail like the rifling and the gun barrels, and small bits and pieces that are attached to each tank to give it a real war-like feel. When a tank drives in water, the metal looks like it has been wet for a while, or when battling on a desert map, you can see the sand in between the tank treads and on the hull itself. Here is some of the negatives that can drive people away, as I touched on before. The grind can get quite heavy, and in higher tier tanks you could spend a few hundred battles in said tank before you unlock the next one. To alleviate this, you can spend real world money on things to help with the grind, like premium time, which adds extra XP and credits for each battle. If that wasn't enough, you can spend upwards of $52 for a single tank. While it does earn good credits, you can blow your load of money very quickly if you are reckless. As I have been playing this game for over 7 years, I have spent ungodly amounts of money on this game, as you can see here.
I go chop your dollar. I go take your money disappear. 419 is just a game. You are the loser. I am the winner. Then finally, now me get down. The contract, now you I go give up. But you go pay me some more.
Here is some quick tips to help a newbie out from a seasoned long-time player to prevent you from running into a battle like a chicken with its head cut off and then promptly get yelled at by an angry Australian man for about 30 minutes.
People's heads sometimes. If they up, there's no point asking them nicely. It's probably why I could never hold down a job, because I could never be told what to do.
A good new player-friendly line of tanks I suggest going down is the Soviet Heavy tree, as the tanks offered there are quite strong and don't require a full mastery of the game mechanics to do well in. Another good line is the German Heavy line with the Tiger to E100. Like the Soviet line, good solid tanks that offer more snipey experience if you don't want to get up and brawl. If you want a more mobile experience, the Soviet medium line is also a good choice, with several tanks getting much needed buffs. This line is also new player friendly. What you do not want to do is play any mid to high tier light tanks starting with tier 5 onwards. As a new player, you do not have the crew skills or upgrades to spot other people easily, and you can die very quickly if you run into trouble. I could go on to explain the deep mechanics of like the vision, but to keep the review short, there are the reasons. Okay, now let's start with the positives. The positives of World of Tanks is that it's mostly a historical World War II action tank game with a large variety of tanks and nations. As the variety means that each nation has unique playstyles, so there's something to grind for. The graphics are also quite good. There's a lot of attention to detail in the tanks and in the maps that you'll be visiting. The game is also free to play, so there's no money to actually try it. So you go to the website, make an account, download it, and try it out and play it. Now for some of the negatives. The grind can get quite excessive. If you don't like to grind much, this game probably isn't for you. The cash shop is almost a requirement for end-game content, as the high-tier tanks you'll be playing will be losing credits every single time, unless you have a premium account. And lastly, the community can be quite toxic. After all of this, would I recommend World of Tanks in 2018? I would say yes, with some caveats. Those being the high grind, the somewhat toxic community, and the expensive microtransactions that could be as high as a full price AAA game. If this game interests you in any way, you can download the game for free, play for a bit, and see. If you are going to do that, enter the code WOTREDDIT, WOTREDDIT, at the account creation screen, and you get 7 days of premium 500 gold in a Churchill 3 Tier 5 premium tank. It would be an easy way to get started. Give a little taste on some various microtransactions and see if you like it or not. Now, next time I am thinking on a review game that could be a bit wet.